welcome back to the Revolution Room. Today we're going to be talking about, is Tucker Carlson MAGA or is he not? We're going to start this off with listening to Ben Shapiro a little bit. He went on a 40-minute rant about how he hates Nick Fuentes and how evil Tucker Carlson is because he platformed him, and really he sounds just kind of like a spoiled little brat at this point. But let's start in with this.
Different on today's show. We're going to cover one topic in depth. That topic is, I think, the most important thing happening in the country. It was a hot topic last week, but I wanted to take some time to really gather my thoughts and speak on it in coherent fashion, holistic fashion. That topic is the fragmentation of the political right. That fragmentation is being caused purposefully by a splinter faction of people led by a young man named Nick Fuentes. They call themselves the Groypers. They are white supremacists. They hate women, Jews, Hindus, many types of Christians, brown people of a wide variety of backgrounds, blacks, America's foreign policy, and America's Constitution. They admire Hitler and Stalin. And that splinter faction is now being facilitated and normalized within the mainstream Republican Party. The main agent in that normalization is Tucker Carlson, who is an intellectual coward, a dishonest interlocutor, and a terrible friend. And
he's a terrible friend. He sounds like a fifth grader. You know when them kids in first, second grade are like, oh, this mean kid, he doesn't want to play with me, but he's playing with my other friends, so they can't be my friends. He's such a bad friend. Like, grow up a little bit, Ben. Come on. He's allowed to have his own opinions and his own voice. Like, there's no reason that Tucker can't have this guy on, which here in a minute, Ben says there's no problem with him having him on, but that is Ben's problem with it. Let's just be honest. He says that it's because of Tucker not giving pushback to Nick Fuentes, but it's Tucker's show. He can do it how he wants. He doesn't need to take a guidebook from Ben Shapiro on this deal. Now, what he's saying about the Groypers, is it true? Yes, it's true. They're crazy. But at the same time, maybe Nick Fuentes is starting to wake up a little bit and see that, hey, you know, when I was 18, 19, 20, some of the things I said were a little out there. And maybe he's trying to level out a little bit. There's no problem with that. This whole thing is because Ben does not like Nick Fuentes. I mean, that's bottom line, hands down, all it has to do with this. We're going to go to the next clip here.
what's been happening? Let's make one thing clear. This is not about free speech or cancellation. It was never about free speech or cancellation. Free speech has a definition: the right to speak free of governmental coercion. I believe in it, of course. I've always defended it. Criticism of bad speech is, in fact, just a form of free speech. Cancellation also has a definition: the banning of particular people, including people like Nick Fuentes, from platforms like X or Facebook. I believe that Nick Fuentes is odious and despicable, but I've never called for his cancellation. And in fact, I've called for his restoration to those services, despite the fact that I think he's odious and despicable. It is not cancellation to draw moral lines between viewpoints. In fact, we used to call that one of the key aspects of conservatism. It is not cancellation to refuse to signal boost Hitler's supporters like Nick Fuentes. It is not cancellation to criticize Tucker Carlson for rhetorically fluffing Nick Fuentes and other anti-American crackpots. It's not cancellation if you urge others to stop promoting those who rhetorically fluff Nazi apologists. Those are all elements of free speech. And anyone who says differently is lying to you, and lying for the most cynical reasons, to misdirect from their own defense of those Nazi apologists and their promoters. The issue here isn't that Tucker Carlson had Nick Fuentes on his show last week. He has every right to do that, of course. The issue here is that Tucker Carlson decided to normalize and fluff Nick Fuentes, and that the Heritage Foundation then decided to robustly defend that performance. Those who criticize both Tucker and Heritage aren't canceling. They are quite properly drawing a moral line. So, for those who don't understand what's going on, let's begin with Nick Fuentes.
All right, so he's right. I mean, criticizing Tucker is not the problem. That has nothing to do with it, and Ben's well within his rights to criticize him. I think he should criticize him on some things. I don't believe in everything Tucker says. I dang sure don't believe in everything Nick Fuentes says. I think they both have bad ideas, and I think they have some good ideas. You can't deny that Nick Fuentes is not a great personality, a smart guy, and maybe he is trying to evolve into the person he wants to become. And just because Ben has been trying to take Nick out since he came out of the womb doesn't mean that you have to sit and criticize Tucker on the way that he interviewed him. Like, to me, what Ben is saying is that, hey, you didn't do it my way, so now I'm going to take you down, which is just ridiculous. Let's keep watching what he says here. Like I said, this is just, it was a 40-minute crying session from Ben Shapiro, basically, on why he hates Tucker because he didn't go after Nick Fuentes the way he wanted to. Well, let's go to the next clip.
Play these days. That's because the left, by moving into a politics of anti-white, anti-Christian, anti-male identitarianism, created its bizarro mirror image, a white pseudo-Christian incel identitarian movement dedicated to destroying the institutions of this country and replacing Americanism with something else. Nick Fuentes' philosophy is not fully formed. It's an incoherent stew of malignity. But that's where Tucker Carlson enters the story. Now, since his exit from Fox News in 2023, when, of course, he was a very, very popular host, Tucker Carlson has turned himself into a conspiracist and a crank and a pathological liar. Tucker excuses Vladimir Putin's murderous and barbarous reign. He has even become one of his most ardent defenders.
It is so much nicer than any city in my country. I had no idea. My father spent a lot of time there in the 80s when he worked for the US government and barely had electricity. And now it is so much cleaner and safer and prettier aesthetically. Its architecture, its food, its service, than any country, city in the United States that you have to, and this is non-ideological. How did that happen? How did that happen? And at a certain point, I don't think the average person cares as much about abstractions as about the concrete reality of his life. And if you can't use your subway, for example, as many people are afraid to in New York City because it's too dangerous, you have to sort of wonder, like, isn't that the ultimate measure of leadership? And that's true, by the way, it's radicalizing for an American to go to Moscow, I didn't know that, I've learned it this week, to Singapore, to Tokyo, to Dubai and Abu Dhabi. Because these cities, no matter how we're told they're run and on what principles they're run, are wonderful places to live.
So I guess you put in 10 rubles here and you get it back when you put the cart back. So it's free, but there's an incentive to return it and not just bring it to your homeless encampment. I went from...
All right, so like I said, I think Ben's whole attitude towards this is kind of ridiculous. My question would be, if you think Tucker is such a bad guy since he's left Fox News, why are you just now bringing it up? Why wait all these years until he platforms Nick Fuentes? And the only logical answer is that Ben Shapiro hates Nick Fuentes. Now, I like Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro is one of my favorites. I think he's a genius. But now he's kind of bringing his personal beef with Nick Fuentes into the Republican movement and the MAGA movement, and I just don't think that's right. He's putting Tucker Carlson on the crosshairs because he platformed his enemy. This just, yeah, I like I said, I love Ben Shapiro, but this to me was just a 40-minute crying session over, well, you just don't do it my way, so I'm going to judge you for it. Okay, well, yeah, sure, whatever. And he goes on to say that he continues to say, I'm not trying to deplatform these people, and I'm not trying to say that they can't do this or do this, but what he's really saying is, you're going to do it my way, you should have interviewed him my way, so now I'm going to attack you for it. If you want to do it your way, Ben, have a debate with Nick Fuentes. I'm sure you'd be happy to. You'd probably win. I don't agree with everything Nick says, but doing it this way is not the right way to do it. It makes us look childish. Especially when, like I said, the left is already doing a great job at destroying themselves. Why do we need to destroy ourselves too in a childish manner? I mean, why don't you just debate him? If you have such animosity towards him, towards his ideas, debate him. Make him look dumb if that's how you feel. That'd be great. I'd be the first one to watch it. I'd be the first one to applaud you. But doing this is not the right way to do it. The next thing I want to talk about is the Jewish coalition. I don't know where people get the idea that if you're a Christian and you're American, that we just need to full stop support Israel and everything they do. I mean, and if you don't, then we're gonna boot you out of the club. It's okay to criticize people. I even think it's okay for Ben Shapiro to criticize Tucker Carlson. That's not the problem that I have with it. The problem I have with it is the way he's doing it. He's acting like a little 2-year-old throwing a hissy fit. So the Jewish coalition, they had an insane rant over Tucker Carlson. It starts off with Brandon Tatum, and yeah, let's jump into this video and then we'll talk about it.
I will never capitulate. I will never give credence to foolish people who are anti-Semitic, who are racist, people who hate America. I will never support them. I don't care how long you've been podcasting. I don't care how many follows you got. I don't care how much money you got. When you platform somebody, bring somebody on your show and let them just dog out Jewish people, let them just dog out and say they support Stalin, I will never support you. I'm trying not to get crazy in here, but we got to stop being soft on this topic. We got to stop being soft on the topic. Let me tell you what cancellation is not. No one cares if you on your own social media platform and you spew whatever you want to say, whether it's stupid or not. We live in America and people have the right to free speech, but we don't have to platform you. We don't have to let you come on our programs and say stupidity and spew stupid stuff. And for too long, I'm seeing it go on and on and on and on. I see somebody with a sign that said Tucker is not MAGA. I guess I got to put his name out there. That's not MAGA. When you're on your platform and people are acting as if Sharia law is better than what we have here in America and the laws that are given to us by God through faith, you're a silly person. If you are out here and you don't know whether or not Hamas is a terrorist organization or a political organization, you are a foolish person. And since I'm already name dropping, everybody saw that interview. You have a guy say that he supports Stalin and that he was a big fan of Stalin on your show. You can have him on the show, but doggone it, you better push back on people like that. There's no way you can say that you're a Christian. There's no way you can say you believe in God and you support a person like Joseph Stalin, who did not believe in God, who killed so many people. Enough is enough. We're not putting up with it anymore. And I stand by our president. That's the reason why I voted for him, because he's a man of integrity. He's a man that stands on principles. And he's a man that's going to be true to what he said. Now, you can decide whether you like what he said or not, but you can guarantee that he's going to stand on what he said. And this is why I love Donald Trump. And when I watch Donald Trump and I see him with Bibi Netanyahu, I see people that operate in reality. The reality is that Israel is one of our greatest allies. And for people to think otherwise, you fall in one of two categories. You're either ignorant or you simply hate Jews. Quit lying to yourself. Quit trying to cover. You just hate Jews. Just say it. I don't want to hear I'm just asking questions no more. You're not just asking questions. Asking questions means you do your research first before you put something out into the atmosphere. It's not asking questions to make accusations. If you somehow think the Jews run the world, you are a fool. If you somehow think that Bibi Netanyahu runs Donald Trump, you are a fool. Donald Trump don't even run Donald Trump.
So we can platform them, but if you don't push back on them, you're going to get criticized. If you don't do it our way, you're going to get criticized. We don't need to cancel them. But if you don't harass them on your platform and push back the way we want you to, you're not MAGA. Now, MAGA. Make America great again. America. What does MAGA have to do with defending Israel at every right turn? Now, do I think Hamas is a terrorist organization? Absolutely. 100%. Do I think Israel has a right to defend itself? Absolutely. 100%. As a Christian, am I allowed to critique Israel? 100%. You better believe that. I don't need to fall in line behind Israel on everything they want just because Brandon Tatum said so. Just because Brandon Tatum says, well, you're not a Christian if you don't do this. Fuck you. You don't tell people whether they are or are not Christian just because they don't follow your belief system. That's not Christian. Now, yeah, I mean, there's just nothing about MAGA that says that you can't critique Israel. That's just stupid. That's stupid thinking. And these guys starting to bring in, well, you're anti-Semitic. You're anti-Semitic. You are if you don't believe this, if you don't believe that. Come on, guys. We should be better than this. This is starting to get ridiculous. It's starting to be like, lefties be, it's the lefties' way of saying you're racist if you do this, you're racist if you do that. It's the same thing. I mean, basically what Brandon Tatum is saying is the same thing a leftist would say is, oh, well, if you don't believe in reparations, you're racist. If you don't fall in line with this, you're racist. If you don't go march for George Floyd, you're racist. No. We can critique Israel. There's nothing wrong with that. We can critique them and support them at the same time. Nothing wrong with it at all. I do have a problem with him saying that if you don't believe in what I'm saying, you're not a Christian. What gives him the right to say that you're not a Christian? Fuck him. We don't all have to have the same backing to Israel as he does. Do I care if he falls in line with Israel and backs him to his dying breath? I could care less. But he doesn't need to sit and tell everybody else that they need to, or they're not Christian, or they're not MAGA. That's just stupid. That's dumb. And all it's going to do is splinter off MAGA and make that side even stronger. It's dumb. If you don't like what they say, talk to them about it. don't say that you can't platform them. Or if you do platform them, you have to push back on them the way that I want you to. It's just like a bunch of little girls. I don't know. That got me a little heated that he's telling people what they have to do to be Christian. It's not his right. Not at all. You can be a Christian and you can back Israel. You can be a Christian and you can critique Israel. Hamas is a terrorist organization. 100%. But Israel's not innocent in this whole deal. Do I think they had a right to retaliate after October 7th? Yeah, I was all for it. Do I think they've gone too far? Yeah, probably. Do I judge them for it? Not my business. I'm sure if America was attacked, which we've seen before, we go as hard as we can at the other people. So, yeah, I don't fault them for it, but I don't need to stand in line and give them my 100%. Otherwise, I'm not a Christian. That's not how that works. Yeah, that got me heated a little bit. I can see the way this is moving. It's moving towards to where the side of the right is going to be spewing that, hey, you're anti-Semitic. You're anti-Semitic. And it's already started, but it's going to get really bad. And all it's going to do is help the left. They're sitting back in their corner and they're like, ooh, I love this. They're eating their popcorn, watching them. It's just not a good political move at all. If you don't agree with Nick Fuentes and his thoughts, that's fine. Nobody says you have to. But you don't need to sit and criticize people for platforming him and giving him an interview the way that he wants to do it. He doesn't have to interview people the way you want him to. And if he doesn't do it the way you want him to, doesn't mean you just kick him out. Maybe have a conversation with him and be like, hey, why didn't you push back on him when he was talking about Stalin and how he loves Stalin? Why didn't you do that? But instead of having a conversation, we're acting like leftists and just going, oh, well, I don't like him. I don't like him because of what he said, and he didn't do it my way, and now he's out of the MAGA movement. Woo! You think Tucker cares? You think you're hurting his feelings? Or do you think that it ruins our party to have all this infighting going on? Just because you don't like the way somebody's doing it. You want to back Israel 100%? Good for you. Could care less. I think Israel is in the right of what they're doing, but I'm not going to sit and call somebody an anti-Semitic or say that they're not Christian just because they don't fully back what they're doing, just because they have some critiques on what they're doing. That's dumb. And it's childish. And it's going to ruin our party. And it's going to put left back in power. And then we'll see where we're at then. So, to kind of wrap it up, I think we really need to take a step back and look at what we're saying to each other. Like, we don't need all this infighting. And I get it. I get why they're freaking out. They're freaking out because Nick Fuentes is going on tours and he's getting some momentum. I get it. Nobody was criticizing Tucker the way they are now until he platformed Nick Fuentes. So, I'm not stupid. I can see 2 and 2. So, you're not going to stop Fuentes by going out and criticizing Tucker and calling him anti-Semitic. It's just not going to work. All it's going to do is piss people off. All it's going to do is break this party up and put the left back in power. Not a good strategy. Do I think he has a right? Brandon Tatum has a right to say what he said? Sure. I'm not his daddy. He's got free speech. Whatever. Do I think it was right what he said? No. I think it was pretty, he wanted to say, everybody's ignorant. Ignorant. Well, it's pretty fucking ignorant for you to say that somebody's not Christian just because they don't follow your beliefs. That's ignorant. So, do I want him deplatformed? No, I could care less what Brandon Tatum says. I don't care. But maybe he should stop and think and be like, hey, maybe I shouldn't be saying people aren't Christian. Because that is ignorant. The worst thing you can do if you want to bring somebody to your side is start name calling and bad mouthing people just because they don't have the same views as you. Why don't we have the back and forth? Discuss it. Don't go out, be a little girl, and cry about it. And badmouth Christians because they don't believe what you want to do. So, we'll see where this goes. They're not going to stop Fuentes for now. I mean, he's got momentum. And he's going to continue to get momentum as they're doing this. This is only going to help him. So, my thoughts to them, what I would say to them is, have him on your platform. Debate him. Or go on somebody else's platform if you don't want to platform him yourself. But have a discussion with him. Brandon Tatum says he's best friends with Charlie Kirk. Wasn't Charlie Kirk about having discussion? Having a debate? Maybe that's what you need to do instead of going out and crying like a little bitch. Don't attack somebody and call them anti-Semitic just because they platform somebody you hate and they interview them in a way that you don't like the way they did it. Anyways, we'll keep on this story. Keep watching. Till next time. We'll see you later.